Hello. I'm not sure if you've seen the news today. So, Sahara Report is reporting today that Deji Adeyanju, the activist and rights lawyer, um, has filed a lawsuit or a petition to the US, the American, and the UK, and other European um, commissions to impose visa ban on the police PRA, public relations officer PRO Adejobi, and obviously for his family for suppressing free speech. Before I go into reading what this news is talking about, I'm not sure if you've been following the global trends around the world. There's been a lot of clampdown on public free speech. It happened during the NSAS, across Europe as well when people protested during the I think during or before the pandemic happened, and there've been a lot of stringent laws passed across boards. This is not just limited to Nigeria, but uh, I'll go into the news first, and then we'll come back and put my opinions as well. What I think is going on here. So, the petition alleges that Adejobi has consistently demonstrated disregard for human rights, using his position to suppress dissent and target individuals critical of the government. Now, this is something we all know that Adeyanju, obviously, he is the lawyer, or his chamber's the lawyer representing um, Amoyele Sowore as well. So, but something they've been standing strong on. I mean, you have to give him his flowers for this anyway, because he's been strong on conversations and interactions with the police PRO for a while now. I will also play a video later to show some of the things he said about um, the PR, and this move is made now is something he said previously anyway. So um, it is a case for all of us to work together. Because remember, in my previous video, I mentioned, you know, all of us banding together, the people, trying to fix our nation. And this strong hand, high hand coming from the government to the people is nothing new, is nothing shocking. It's an oppressive move anyway from our government. But when you have the police PRO in Deji's petition and in his criticism of the PR for time becoming so loud, it is something that you and I have to take very, very seriously. And all of us coming together and putting our voice out, we're actually lightening this hold and this strong harm coming on citizens. So Deji Adeyanju and Partners, a public interest law firm, has petitioned the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and the European Union to impose a visa ban on Assistant Commissioner of Police, ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, the Public Relations Officer of the Nigerian Police Force, over alleged crackdown on freedom of speech. The petition alleges that Adejobi has consistently demonstrated a disregard for human rights, using his position to suppress dissent and target individuals critical of the government. The law firm argues that his public statement and actions have contributed to an environment of intimidation against the expression against free expressions in Nigeria. A copy of the letter obtained by Sahara reporters on Friday was addressed to the US ambassador in Abuja and dated February 4th, 2025. It reads, "We urgently appeal to the United States of America to impose a visa restriction on Assistant Commissioner of Police Olumuyiwa Adejobi, the current force public relations officer of the Nigerian Police Force. ACP Adejobi's public statement and actions have demonstrated a blatant disregard for fundamental human rights, particularly freedom of speech. On multiple occasions, he has asserted that insulting police officers is a criminal offense in Nigeria, an assertion that legal experts and human rights advocates have widely condemned. Say, even in America, if you insult the police officers, it is not there's no crime against it because they are seen as public servants. If you're working for the public, you cannot tell the public to say don't insult me. Obviously, you don't want to insult the police anyway. It should not be right for you to insult the police. or criticize the police. Police officers are criticized all around the world because they want them to be effective in their job. They want them to be to do the job with all professionalism. See, the police is a profession, just like an architect. It's a professional um, job title. So if you're an engineer, you know you're a professional. So the police is also professional. So you treat the police the right way, and the police should treat you the right way. And you can be critical of an engineer who comes to do work for you or work for the public. So the same way you should be able to criticize the police and not get tracked down the way this is alleging as well. Okay, because I think if you remember recently there was a video of policemen allegedly policemen coming to one of the content creators' house and flying over the fence and asking them to open the door by all means. I think there was a statement that reads or says something about the police can come into any property without having warrant. That's not right. There are instances where the police can come in, having obtained the warrant to do so, but they can then barge in because knocking on the door means that evidence will be destroyed. So there are certain instances like that. But instances where we can then say the police don't need warrant, they can come in at any given time, that's not right. If they're coming in to rescue somebody, they don't need a warrant because someone's life is actually at stake. That's my thinking anyway, but I stand to be corrected. So what this petition is saying that is that the force PR is actually using this position to clamp down on dissent against the government or dissent against the police as well. This statement was made in response to a viral incident involving musician Habib Okikiola Portable, in which Adejobi labeled his behavior as unruly and inciting violence against officers. Oh, let me go back one step. It says, for example, in a widely circulated tweet on March 29, 2023, ACP Adejobi stated that hurling insult at police officers carrying out their legal duty is criminal and punishable by criminal laws of Nigeria. So, um, just stepping back as well again, you can see what the um Deji's law firm is asserting here, saying that the PRO police, the force PRO is alleging that if you insult the police when they're carrying out this, is criminal, is a criminal according to Nigerian law. But there was no law. I don't think there's any law in the Nigerian constitution that states anything like that anyway. So, furthermore, he reiterated this his stance in a Facebook post declaring that attacking or even verbally insulting police officers is an act of disrespect to Nigeria itself. So, a disrespect is not a constitute. It's not something that is against the law. I disrespect you doesn't mean I've done anything that is contrary to the law of the Constitution of Nigeria. So I think this is what Adeyanju and Co is actually talking about. The petition also highlights that December 2024 arrest of activist and nurse Olamide Thomas, allegedly ordered by Adejobi after she criticized President Bola Tinubu, Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun, and Adejobi himself in a video. Arrest and subsequent detention have been viewed as a direct attack on freedom of expression, the law firm said. Say these things about arresting Nigerians, it's not new. It's not new. You remember when a man during Buhari's regime named, I think it was a dog or a goat, but just in an animal anyway. He named an animal Buhari, and he was arrested. He was jailed because it was deemed an insult. That's the level of disrespect that we have as Nigerians from our leaders. Really, those in authority use the power of the authority that they wield to clamp down on Nigerians, and this is one of the reasons why we are trying to make sure that 2027 we have a people's movement. Okay, we need to fix the issues we have in Nigeria, and bear that in mind that we are all victims, even the one that is perpetrating this kind of crime. If you have a lawmaker that can tell a Nigerian citizen, and they will make a Nigerian citizen disappear in Nigeria, nothing will happen. If a lawmaker can say that, then you can see that we're all victims of the system. Because at one point in time, that same lawmaker himself was also a victim. but then he's ascended to a place of authority. He's now used the same thing with which he was victimized to victimize another person. So even if we look at what this petition is saying, at some point you will realize that the police force PR will not be a policeman anymore. And at that particular point, he himself might be a victim too. So the petition further accuses Adejobi of ordering the arrest of Nigerian citizen Charles Uche Ehedioha over a Twitter comment. It reads, most recently, ACP Adejobi took his abuse of power a step further by ordering the arrest and detention of a Nigerian citizen over a Twitter comment. According to reports, Adejobi used his position to unlawfully detain Mr. Charles Uche Ehedioha simply by expressing an opinion online. This incident underscores its pattern of using state power to silence critics, violating both Nigerian laws and international human rights standards. When Mr. Daniel's father, Mr. Nathaniel Ehedior, went to the police station to see his son, ACP Adejobi ordered that officers who granted him entry be locked up. This action further highlights Adejobi's power-drunk tendencies and his blatant abuse of authority. Additionally, it states that when the detainee's father, Nathaniel Hayediora, visited the police station to see his son, ACP Adejobi ordered that the officers who granted him entry be locked up. Beyond these individual cases, the petition alleges that Adejobi has consistently defended police brutality. In a recent report, he justified excessive force used by officers and dismissed calls for accountability, further proving his complicity in the continued abuse of Nigerian citizens, the firm said. The law firm urges US and other nations to take a decisive action. We believe such action would send a strong message that individuals who support suppress freedom of speech and undermine democratic principles will not be welcome in the United States, it said. Now, will this petition mean anything to the United States? I don't think so, because this is not the first time Nigerians have petitioned nations like United Kingdom, United States, or the European Union, Canada about visa restrictions. It's not the first time, and they've never done anything really. There's only time they came up and they said, "Oh, we're going to, stop and listen," but they never did anything. So I don't think this will amount to anything, if you ask me. Well, what I think anyway is that what is important for Nigerians to remember is that until we fix our nation, things will not change. So now back to the same report, yeah, where it talked about um, the the guy who expressed his opinion on Twitter and was locked up, and then the boy's father or the man's father went to see the ACP, and obviously the other police officer was locked up. I think this is one of the things. If you listen to this video here, for example, just watch this.
You must be mindful of Olumuyiwa Adejobi, this first PRO at the first reporter. This guy thinks that police work. He thinks police PRO work is about surfing the internet and arresting people that criticize the police. He thinks first PRO work is about jailing people, especially people that criticize the IG, people that criticize the police institution. Was this how Frank Omba and other PROs, was this how they were conducting PRO work in the first quarter? A client of ours who was arrested on the instruction of Olumuyiwa Adejobi for making a post about the abduction of the former DIG's wife. They arrested him, he has spent 10 days in custody. The parents went to go and see Olumuyiwa Adejobi to beg him. The parents came to our office and briefed us. Went to see Olumuyiwa Adejobi. If you see the level of ridicule that he ridiculed them.
Come back in. I want to just express a point here. At the top of this podcast, I mentioned that we are all victims. And the point that Deji is making here was that this particular person made ridicule of the abduction of a former DIG's wife online, and he was arrested. When I said we're all victims, you can see, so you can be in power one day. A DIG, if you don't really realize, is a deputy inspector general. You have the inspector general right now, Kayode. Igbetokun as the inspector general. Then you have deputies around him, several deputies across different areas. And we're talking about people who are literally at the very top or the very top echelon of the Nigerian police force. So you can see that when you hear that power is transient, power is really transient. When you don't do the things that you need to do to fix the nation, at some point, you will then realize that you've been a victim as well, because we are constantly being the victim. Okay. So on one day, you might be the one, victimizing others, and the other day, you will now become the victim and you won't be able to cry for help. All right. That's why we've been talking about this movement of the people. We need to reignite the fire where we all as Nigerians can come together, work together, and make sure that we fix our nation. The intention is to fix our nation. And do not take this with levity, because I used to borrow the word of Dele Faratimi, the ruiners of Nigeria. The ruiners of Nigeria would want this system to remain the way they are so that they can pass these ruins to their children. Remember, when the colonial masters came to Nigeria or Africa, they wanted the system to remain the same so that as once one person is moving, there's a pipeline of individuals to come into continue the suppression until the people fought as a people, because they needed the system, the people to be divided. They needed the North and the South to be divided. And as long as the North and the South are divided, colonialism will continue. But the day the people realize that we cannot be divided and work with and fight and get the colonial masters out of our system, that's the day they work up.
The level of ridicule. Then it has been alleged that he locked three of the officers who allowed the parents to gain access to see him, to beg him. Who the hell does this guy think he is? The bloody first PRO? Is this how we can promote accountability in government? Is this the essence of policing? Is this how to do PRO work? He thinks first PRO work is Bole Kaja in Lagos, where people are forced to come down from the bus and get into physical and fight. He thinks it's about.
That's exactly how he behaves.
That's exactly how he behaves. He thinks that the first PRO is Oshobi, where people will just be fighting and grappling and engaging in fisticuffs. So we are taking decisive action against people like that because they are anti-democratic elements in the country. Olumuyiwa Adejobi is guilty of suppressing citizens' rights and freedom of speech in the country. Yes. And we are going to take appropriate legal and constitutional actions against him to serve as deterrence against other people like him in the police force who continue to victimize and withhold people. And this is also to send a serious note of warning to the Cyber Crime Center of the Nigerian Police that the work of the Cyber Crime Center is not to be arresting people who are opposing or criticizing government, or who are criticizing the police authority, or who are criticizing and calling for accountability in the police. That the work is to go after internet fraud, and cyber terrorism and cyber criminal, not to go and be arresting people that criticize the IG, people that criticize commissioner of police,
and people that criticize their girlfriends.
Yes, do you understand? So,
because the lady, by the way, was detained for 21 days. She's from the UK. Dorcas.
Yes.
She said she will never enter Nigeria again.
Can you just imagine? Can you imagine the impact, the negativity of that action? So my take generally is that people like Olumuyiwa must be stopped by the citizens.
So you can hear that. His take was that the citizen has to do the stopping. We cannot depend on our politicians. I've said this again and again and again. Our politicians cannot be dependent on to give us the kind of nation that we want. They failed our system already. All right. So if you're waiting to get the politicians to continue to give you the kind of system that you want, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Okay. So what we need at this particular point in time is a system that works. That's what we want. And we have to put our hands together to make sure it works for us. Okay. I'm of this opinion here that until we come together and work this thing out, until we band together. First of all, the very first thing is to change the crop of leaders that we have. If we can do that work, especially since the next opportunity that we have nationwide is the 2027 election, if we can do the work together, get new crops of leaders, get the old ones out of it. I'm saying because you know what? The senator that's going to represent you in Ikeja is coming from Ikeja. So you need people from Ikeja to vote him, to go and represent you at the state level and at the federal level. The same thing that happens to the person in Abuja or in Mina or in Sokoto or somewhere else. The senators I represent are picked locally. So we need to do our campaign on a local basis where we have one voice saying the same thing all around. We need our celebrities, obviously, they have to look at their pocket anyway, but for them to obviously start putting and lending their voices to this because people listen to them. Okay. And then we can then take this fight, this struggle, this desire for change to the nation at large. Do you understand? So, in my conclusion here, I am stressing if we want Nigeria to change, if we want to see the kind of change that we want to see, where we can wake up in the morning, go to bed in the night, and wake up in the morning and we'll still be sane, where we can travel on our roads and not be harassed by area boys. We will not be harassed by the police or harassed by our lawmakers or those in authority. If we want the Nigeria where everything is done by merit, we have to do the work together. Change don't come easily. And the people who suppress you would not want you to have the change because they have the advantage over you. And they will fight hard to make sure that the status quo remains the way it is. If we want to change Nigeria, I'm saying the time is now. If we want to have the kind of change that we desire, don't wait until tomorrow. Don't leave it in the hands of another person. If you do your bit and I do my bit, as I'm doing my bit right now, your bit is to share this content so that somebody else can see it. And then we can then start to pass this conversation across to everybody. Remember, the politicians always say, if you bring in any small party with integrity, they don't have structure because the structure of criminality. So they will never win. So they've given us that idea that change will never happen because they can rig the election. But if you and I can step out and start our campaign today, where we can start looking forward to Nigeria, where when we come out to vote, we come out to vote en masse. When we come out to campaign, we come out to campaign en masse. When we come out to say no to a thing, we come out to say to the other thing no en masse. We do it together with one voice because a people united is difficult to break. A people divided is easily broken. Again, I say this, a people united is difficult to break. A people disunited is easy to break. So when we're united, it is difficult for our politicians to break us. It is difficult for them to break us on ethnic ground. It is difficult for them to break us on religious ground. It is difficult to break us or divide us on tribal grounds. So when we're united, we can speak with one voice and demand the change that we want. Don't forget, they understood that we were speaking in one voice, with one voice, when NSAS happened. And they fought very, very, very hard to break that. That's why there were so many deaths at the toll gate. So when we come out together, 2027, and unite and speak with one voice and get the right people in, we will get the wrong people out. In order to get the right people in, you need to get the wrong people out. In order to get the wrong people out, you have to campaign hard to get the right people in. So this is where the work starts. Let's campaign so hard. Let's start this knowledge sharing so hard. And let's be vehement about it and not be apologetic because it's about time. All right, we want this change. And I've been saying that we want this change across all the spheres of Nigeria. Because if Nigeria works for me, it would work for you. If it works for the little man, it will work for the big man. If it works for the man that his father or his mother is a nobody according to the Nigerian standard, then it will work for everybody else. Let's work hard to make Nigeria work for every one of us. so that we are not going to be second-class citizens in our own nation. I say this again. Let's work hard so that Nigeria can work for every one of us, so that we will not be second-class citizens in our own nation. Let's work hard so that Nigeria can work for me and for you, and not Nigeria not working against you. Let's work hard so that we will not let Nigeria, as the saying is being said right now, will not let Nigeria happen to you, but will let Nigeria happen for us the way we want Nigeria to be. All right, let's make Nigeria a prosperous nation, again, free from corruption, free from oppression, free from high-handedness, free from imprisonment, from those who are in a place of authority. Let's make Nigeria work for our little children who are yet unborn, or who are still growing, and make Nigeria work for our unborn children. Let's make Nigeria count again. Nigeria deserves, and Nigerians deserve better than what we're getting currently. Thank you. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye for now.